everyone, and welcome to this conference hosted by MS Focus, the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation. I'm your host, Kimani Hendricks, Multimedia Communications Coordinator for MS Focus, and today I'm joined by Andrea and Emily Blasberg of Mr. Oscar Monkey, who will be talking about MS Kid and family-friendly summer activities. Emily Blasberg is an MS patient and founder of Mr. Oscar Monkey, a pediatric MS organization that was founded with the vision to help reduce the life-changing realities of pediatric MS by providing age-appropriate resources, advocacy, and community. Emily was diagnosed with MS when she was 15, though her symptoms started at an earlier age. She is well aware of the challenges that MS presents to someone so young and has committed herself to advocacy for pediatric MS, finding ways for kids and teens to connect and network across the United States and the world, and supporting the pediatric MS community so no child feels the loneliness that she felt. Andrea Blasberg, Emily's mom, is no stranger to the MS world. Her husband, Dean, was diagnosed with MS in 1998, and Emily was diagnosed 13 years later. Andrea has been a caregiver for not only one, but two family members living with MS. Through Mr. Oscar Monkey, she shares her advice for other parents, assists in facilitating education and community building programs, and helps with the day-to-day operations of the organization. She has a unique perspective, being a caregiver to an adult MS patient as well as a pediatric MS patient, and she attends every appointment with Dean and Emily to stay informed and ensure that she is providing the best support possible. We will address all questions and comments after the presentation, but I'll turn it over to you, Emily and Andrea. Thank you guys for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having us. We're excited about this topic because it's hot and heat is not friendly to MS. I know personally where we live, I think it's about 87 degrees currently. And being in the air conditioning sounds like a much easier solution to dealing with the heat.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of activities and products and food that can help keep you cool, so you can still enjoy the summer.
Absolutely. We're going to run our chat this evening a little differently. Normally we try to have some others available with us, some of our kids and families, but it's just going to be Emily and I tonight. But we'll look to our participants also if there are ideas when we have given our ideas. If there are more that people have that they would like to share, we're going to invite you to do that. And so we're just going to jump in. I think just get started. I think the first thing I'd like to do is tell you about some resources that we use as our kids were growing up, things that we found helpful. When Emily was young, her dad had MS. He was diagnosed when she was just 2. And so a lot of the activities that we chose to do as a family were either outside in the water or inside in the air conditioning. And we did that for many years growing up. So I'll give you a little apology to begin with, because most of my resources were dated in the 1990s.
Pinterest is also wonderful for coming up with
exactly.
more current ideas.
But I want to give you some ideas that to get you started, just some fun things. So the first one that we have, it's going to be backwards on your screen, TV-free activities that you can do with your child. We really worked hard when our kids were young to be active with them and to stay away from the TV, although they still seem to see an incredible amount of movies and things like that.
Well, and now we have Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah, so we just watch them all again.
Yeah.
But this is a really great book for just getting down on the floor and getting active. There are a lot of just tons of activities in here that you can do at the kitchen table, that you can do in the car. There's just all sorts of fun things like that. We actually have a whole list of them that we can send out to participants. I know that our host was going to try to get it on to the chat here, and I don't know if she'll be able to do that, but she can send you the list later on. Card games, 101 best family card games.
We play a lot of card games.
We do a lot of card games.
I think my favorite one, I think it's kind of an older game because not many people know about it currently. It's double solitaire.
Yeah.
So you play solitaire like your own game of solitaire, but the aces are in the middle. And so you're sharing aces with the other players.
So you're playing head to head,
And it really gets competitive.
especially when you get 3, 4, even 5 people playing, and you're all playing on all the different aces. Oh,
Yeah, this like my mom and my sister and I will play together, and either my husband or my dad or my sister's boyfriend will try to join in. They get lost in the dust because we get so competitive. We've been
Oh, yeah.
playing it so much. But I
Yeah.
love card games because
Yep.
they're a quick activity, but they're fun and engaging, and there's so many different options of card games out there.
so many options, whether it's 1 deck or 3 decks or however many. And the nice thing about card games is that kids can play at really young ages. There are so many
yeah.
things that you can do at even the itty bitty ages, all the way up. So
Oh, I remember at recess, we always had decks of cards when we were
Sure.
playing. At recess, we would be playing speed or
War is a good one. Slapjack.
King's Corner. Yeah, there's so many different card games.
Yeah.
My gosh, we could have a whole webinar on card games.
Oh, we
I
could.
think.
I think
But
so.
we should move on.
I want to tell you about something fun that we did with our kids. That especially for young ones, it started out as a rainy day activity. Our kids' bedrooms were a mess. It was raining outside, and rather than just clean your room, clean your room, clean your room, what we did is, actually we didn't, but a couple of little fairies left our daughters a letter on their bedroom floor or on their desk or somewhere in their
Somewhere.
room that introduced themselves. So the fairy said, "My name is Tilly, and I'm a fairy, and I'm looking for a new home, and I'm hoping that I can come live with you, but with your toys laying all over your bedroom, I might damage my wings if I come into your room. So if you clean your room up and put your things away, I could come and live with you." Well, for our little girls, this was probably the greatest invitation in the world that they had ever seen. Their rooms were clean within hours.
We didn't want their wings to get hurt.
They didn't want to damage the wings of the fairies. And they went out to the garage and grabbed a cardboard box, and they each made a bedroom for their fairies with little beds and countertops, and Dad helped put little fairy lights in. And so the arts and crafts were big in our house.
Very, very,
Very big. So those are there. I have a whole list of resources that we can, as far as books go, and I'd be happy to. Oh, those things.
Yeah, those things too.
I'll
Those are
let you
awesome
talk about
products.
those.
All right. We have our lists in front of us. Some other products that we've found very helpful with staying cool. One of them is cooling vests. In the MS world, you've probably seen a million different cooling vests. Some of them are simple, a vest with a bunch of pockets that you put ice packs in. I recommend keeping 2 sets of ice packs, one that's in the freezer, one that you're wearing, so you can switch them out, especially if you're going to be outside for a longer period of time. There are also cooling bands that are available through a lot of different places. I've even seen them at the dollar store, honestly.
Mhm.
And it's a piece of fabric, or depending on which kind you get, but I'll talk about the fabric one. It's just a piece of fabric that you submerge in icy water, and then you just wrap it around your shoulders, and it keeps you cool for actually a pretty long period of time. when we have our camp programs in the summer, we bring these neck coolers when we go kayaking, especially, and we give them to the campers already cold. But as they start to warm up, we say just dip it in the water, let it sit in the water for a few minutes, and then it'll be cold again, and you can just put it back on your neck. And it really helps our campers stay cool, which I really appreciate, because heat is no fun for MS.
Heat is no fun. We don't need a camp full of kids all exhausted from the heat.
No.
So
Another product that's available for really everybody is lightweight, quick drying clothing.
mhm.
Wearing something that's going to be heavy is going to be hot. And there's no reason to add to the heat that's already outside. Do what you can to keep your body cool without the weather.
And that kind of clothing has become much more affordable
Definitely.
in recent years. So it's definitely more accessible for more people.
For sure.
So we've even found quite a bit at the used stores near us. So
For sure.
so we find that.
This is one that you can actually make at home. This is something that's it's an activity that you can do together to make, but then you can actually use it and it'll definitely keep you cool. This is a reusable water balloon. It's just a sponge, and I'll show you how to make it. So you take a sponge, just a regular sponge. I think, again, I got this at the dollar store, and you cut it into quarters. And strips, 4 strips. And what I did to make this one a little bit more round is I put 2 of them together, just like that. And then you take one and you kind of sandwich it with another one over on the other side. They're all kind of facing different directions. And then you take a rubber band and you put the rubber band right in the center of all those sponges. And adjust the different pieces a little bit, but then as easy as that, you have a reusable water balloon. And so again, you can dip this in ice water and have a really fun water fight.
Mhm. Or have the kids wash the car.
Or that works too.
Just don't give them a sponge with the scrubbies on the side.
Yeah, we made that mistake one time.
Yeah, that happened once.
The car ended up with a lot of scratches. I think that was my brother, though. That wasn't me.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Everything gets blamed on the brother, right?
of course. Oh, some other activities that we thought of that you can keep cool. Obviously swimming, the pool, the beach, wherever you can find water.
A sprinkler in the backyard. It's
Sprinkler
not swimming, but it's still water.
And we have actually bought kiddie pools well into the kids being much too big for them, but they're just kind of fun to sit around with a lawn chair and dunk your feet in, and
the dog loves it too.
the dog plays. Yeah. And you can splash each other. So rather than a campfire, you're sitting around the kiddie pool.
Yeah.
Mall walking, that's something that we enjoy doing. When the kids were little, I could have them, especially if you're in a mall that's not quite as busy, I would let them race. I would say, all right, on your mark, get set, go. You go to the chair up ahead and run back, and who can get here fastest.
Now, that said, most of the mall walking that we're talking about is more
For-
enclosed malls.
Yes.
More
This is
the
true.
northern states.
Yeah.
The southern states don't have the benefit that we have in the northern states, where it is air conditioned, which is, again,
That's true.
a plus.
Yeah. Didn't think of that.
Yeah. No,
Boy. Huh.
no, we're kind of spoiled.
We are spoiled. So mall walking, if you have an enclosed mall.
Otherwise, just going to a large department store too, like going to Walmart and
Home Depot.
yeah, walking around the perimeter of a building like that. Again, you can do little races in there as long as it's not busy and
Don't get
and-
anybody's way.
Yeah,
And if you do, don't tell them we sent you.
yeah.
Indoor rock climbing.
Yes,
That
really
has
good
been
exercise.
really fun. We've done that with birthday parties and just get-togethers, and it's such a nice controlled environment. It's safe, so much fun.
And again, wear your lightweight clothing because you're working hard when you're rock climbing. Oh my goodness.
And we've had little bitty kids doing this and big kids all doing it
Yeah.
together, and it's a lot of fun.
It is.
Okay, this one is one of my favorites, the indoor trampoline parks.
Talk about a workout.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Big workout, half an hour and I'm done for the
Yeah,
day.
I suggest not doing more than 30 minutes.
Start with that and see how it goes.
Unless your kids are super energetic and you want to get their energy out,
Yeah.
then go for longer. But don't, like, if you're a parent and you want your kids to jump, have your kids jump and you watch. They'll get worn out. very
It's
quickly.
tiring. It's a good
Or
workout.
just jump into the giant foam pit
Yep,
and get stuck.
yep.
That's always fun too.
Now, the next is a little bit harder to find, but when I was a kid, they were all over the place. But the roller skating rinks, and we actually, spoiler alert, we're actually taking our teen kids and our young adults who are coming for camp next month. We're going to a roller rink for an afternoon, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
It's fun to get back in the roller rink. It's air conditioned. It'll be fun. And we even have looked ahead and gotten permission for those kids who find themselves uncomfortable on skates. We can use wheelchairs.
As long as you call ahead and ask, a lot of
Yeah.
roller skating rinks are accommodating to mobility difficulties, and they say, yep, wheelchairs are just fine as long as they're not dirty. As
Yep.
long as they're not going to dirty the rink, then they're just fine because again, it's wheels.
Yeah. So we're excited about that.
Yeah.
And some areas of the country also have ice skating rinks. And I know around here you can ice skate in winter and summer. So it just depends on where you are. And I know I've seen some ice skating rinks down south too.
Yeah, I mean, there's hockey down south. so-
Yeah. There is. Okay.
We sound like such northerners.
Oh, don't we though?
Yeah.
Don't you know?
You betcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This was always a favorite for our family, but going to the library. Not only is it cool and quiet and calm, but then the kids can come away with mountains of books. And it's there that you can find the ideas for what do you do to stay cool in the daytime? What do you do to stay cool at night? What are some things that are fun activities? And the library has a bunch of ideas.
Oh yeah.
Lots of ideas. Oftentimes they'll also have story hour. They'll have teen nights. I know in our local library they had teen night a couple of nights a week. And so check them out. They're a great free resource. Also, in our metropolitan area, they have passes to museums
Yeah.
in the area. So you can go for either free or very reduced cost.
Well, and in addition to that, I don't know how it is with other libraries. I would assume it's similar, but they have a summer reading program. So you
Mhm.
log how many hours you've read or how many books you've read. And then if you complete their chart, and I know Barnes and Noble does it as well, or at least they used to.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm dating myself. I
It
don't
could
know. But once you complete your chart, you often get either a book as a reward or a ticket to some sort of event. For our local area, it's a ticket to the state fair, which is a big event
Big
in our
deal.
state. So that was always a fun incentive too, to continue to read throughout the summer and check out all those books at the library. And it was kind of like a competition between siblings too.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know, who could fill out their chart fastest.
Yep.
Kept us busy.
that's good. I'm gonna let you talk about the ice cube painting because,
Yeah. So actually, still with the library,
oh,
you
sorry.
can also do a scavenger hunt within the library. You
Mm.
know, as a parent, you can say, could you go find a book about puppies? That's the only instruction. And then the kids have to go around the library and find a book about puppies. And whoever brings one back to you first,
Yeah.
quietly and with quiet feet,
Yeah.
then they win that round. Okay, ice cube painting. I saw this one online. I thought it was really interesting. So you take just colored water. So just water, and you add food dye to it. Then you put them in ice cube trays. Let them freeze. And then if you have a thick paper, like kind of a cardstock paper or even thicker, you put the ice cubes on the paper. And you can do this outside so that they melt a little bit faster. But then as the ice cubes melt, the colors kind of blend on the paper and it looks really cool.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. And then similarly, there's also an ice cube tie-dye. So you take your wet t-shirt, because when you tie-dye, you always want your fabric to be wet. So you take your wet t-shirt, you crumple it up or do a swirl or whatever design you're going to do, and you put it in usually like a tub or something to contain the liquid. And you cover it in ice cubes. And then you take some fabric dye, powder form, and you sprinkle it on. And then as the ice melts, the dye soaks into the fabric and you're left with a really cool design.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Very fun.
You can add all sorts of colors and just really be creative with it.
Oh,
And play with the ice cubes as you're
and it's cool.
it's a cool activity.
Yeah. And of course, there's always the squirt gun fight.
Yes,
Mhm.
we had a lot of those.
Yes.
Remember that picnic we went to?
So we were invited to a family picnic.
No. Not only was it a family picnic,
It was
this was my dad's boss.
it was a company picnic.
Yeah.
So we put the kids in swimsuits and we went to the department store and we told them they could buy a new
Super soaker.
super soaker squirt gun. So our youngest was about 3 or 4, and I think the squirt gun that he got was 4 times bigger than he was.
Yeah, he could barely hold
He
it.
could hardly hold it when it
Yeah.
was filled with water.
I think it weighed more than him. There was so much water in it.
But we arrived at the party.
It was
and
about 95 degrees
it was
outside.
so hot. And the kids put on their swim goggles and they had their swimsuits on and they get out of the car and their guns are full of water. And we walked into the party and started getting everybody wet.
And nobody objected.
Nobody objected.
Because it was so hot. They were just like, oh, bring it on. That feels good.
Shortly after we started, the host realized what was going on and he grabbed the hose
Yeah.
and went after us. But, we got wet too.
Well, we were kind of expecting to get
We
wet.
kind of were. That was fun.
It was fun.
It
And it really did cool us off. And
It was a great memory to have,
Yeah.
to be able to sneak into the party, and
yeah,
the kids got to have big squirt guns, really big squirt
we
guns.
still have them.
Yeah,
Watch out.
you never know when they're gonna make an appearance again.
Yeah, they do every once in a while. I always also love bowling. Bowling is like one of my favorite summer activities. I don't like
Yeah.
to do it. I guess I like to do it all year, but I like it especially in the summer because it seems like the bowling alley is less busy,
Yes.
especially during the day.
And
No one's there during the day.
in our area also, a lot of the bowling alleys offer free bowling
For kids.
for kids under 18. It's usually once a week or
Yeah.
so that you can go and bowl for free. So it's a great opportunity to get out and do something cool and active and as a group
Yeah,
and bring some friends.
absolutely. We had a lot of camping overnights
Yeah. We
in
love
the
to,
living room.
and we love to camp, but we do not like to camp in the summer.
No,
Unfortunately.
fall is a perfect time to camp.
Yeah, fall and spring are when we will take the tents out or the camper out, and we'll go out into the world and do that, but we still like to do it in the summer, so we have no problem setting up the tent in the basement or on the living room floor or wherever it's cool. And with the tents these days, you don't have to stake them down like we did when we
No.
were kids.
No
So-
holes in the living room floor.
No, you don't have to pound stakes in, and it rarely rains
Yeah,
when we camp in the house.
yeah.
At least we don't get wet.
Well, we're in a tent.
This is true.
I think if it's raining and you're inside, you have a bigger problem.
There's a big problem. Yeah. So camping, and there are so many fun activities that you can do along with that. You can create camp food. And we'll get into some foods in a little bit
Yeah.
that you can do, but
But even like, I know a lot of people will use around Christmas time, they'll use the Netflix campfire
sure.
video. And I know there are ones that are, or the fireplace for the Christmas, but there
Yeah.
are ones that are also a campfire.
Campfire. So you have a
So-
video of a campfire playing right next to your
Yeah.
tent. Perfect.
Makes it fully authentic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. From there, a lot of these that we're talking about, it seems like we're talking about things at home. But we still want you to get out and do things. So one of the things that we came up with, and we did some of these things along the way, not necessarily as a one organized event, but along the way we did pieces of them together. We had water park at our own house. The water slide that you create out of a huge piece of plastic.
Yes.
You go to get a piece of the poly film at the hardware store and just roll it down the hill and stick a hose at the top. And
Our local fire department does that.
yeah, it's cold water,
Very cold.
but on a hot day, it's really nice. The water balloon toss.
Yep.
We talked about that. You can either make your own spongy water balloons or blow up, fill the water balloons.
But just make sure to pick up all the little pieces of rubber.
Yes, please do. Rubber ducky gutter races.
Those are fun.
Can you talk about those a little bit?
So you set up, you just have a gutter.
Piece of rain gutter.
Yeah. And you just put it at a slight angle. And then everybody gets a little rubber ducky. You put them at with the top end,
Mhm.
and whichever one gets to the bottom first wins.
Yoo-hoo.
But you can also like if you have a sandbox or something, you could also sometimes make a course through the sandbox too.
Sure. Oh, that'd be fun.
As long as you have it lined, otherwise the water just goes straight through.
Yeah, sand.
I learned that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
tried to use a lot of water to get it to fill up.
still didn't fill up.
Still didn't fill up.
Weird.
Yeah.
Then there's the fill the bucket race. So you have a bucket for each team that they have to fill, and they can fill it in lots of different ways. Do they fill it by carrying water in their hands? Do they use a spoon? Do they use a sponge to absorb the water and then go and squish it out into the bucket? There are so many different ways that you can fill a bucket.
I
And
think we found that our t-shirts were rather absorbent.
yeah, t-shirts are good.
Yeah.
We should have one of these for winter activities too, because we came up with a lot of fun, creative winter activities
Yeah.
with t-shirts. Again, we live way up north. So in the winter, when it gets to be 30, 40 below, we can take a t-shirt and throw it outside and it'll freeze in about 5-10 minutes when it's wet.
That sounds really nice right now.
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should go do one of these activities when we're done and go cool off.
I think that's a great idea.
Bring the dogs.
Yeah. We'll go to the beach.
That sounds good.
One last indoor activity, jigsaw puzzle race. So There, as you may know, jigsaw puzzles come in all different sizes and all different numbers of pieces, but just have a race. Which kid, which group of kids, which family, who can get the puzzle put together the fastest. I think that's a fun one.
Yeah. Oh, we love puzzles.
Yeah, we do. We do them a lot.
We have a closet that's designated to jigsaw puzzles.
Mhm. All right, this is my favorite part.
Okay, so we're talking about food now.
Yep.
One of my favorite foods for cooling off in the spring, summer is watermelon.
Mhm.
You have your watermelon in the refrigerator, you cut it into pieces, or you just cut it in half and take a spoon and eat out of the watermelon itself.
Mhm.
But it's such a refreshing and hydrating fruit.
Yeah.
That it really does cool you off. I remember there was one time, it was a few years ago, we were at an outdoor event, and part of it was supposed to be indoor, and this was after my diagnosis. And the electricity or the power in the entire town went out everywhere. So there was nowhere we could go to get cooled off or to even get ice cream. Like we tried going to McDonald's or Dairy Queen or somewhere that would have ice cream to cool off. You and Dad happened to find a grocery store that had a watermelon. And he brought that. I remember I was sitting in the car because I was like, had the air blasting on me as much as possible. You gave me this watermelon and a spoon, and I just started eating it. And I cooled off so quickly that it was like magic. I love that watermelon so much. And so now that's kind of my go-to whenever I'm feeling a little bit too warm. I'll go eat some watermelon. It'll cool you off.
Yeah. We have also made watermelon smoothies. We blend some watermelon up with a couple of sprigs of mint leaves, throw them in the freezer, and it doesn't freeze solid.
No.
It kind of froze in like little sheets or something. But
Yeah.
it was fun to eat when we did that. So that's a fun one too. Watermelon is really a great cool off food
Or
and
past activities.
Yeah, there are definitely things you can do with that.
There is an activity on here though that's food related.
There is.
Do you want to talk about that one?
Sure. Actually, there are a couple of them.
This is the one I was thinking.
Yeah. Ice cream in a bag. So this is making your own personal serving of ice cream. And we can email out this recipe. But you have 2 Ziploc bags, one bigger than one smaller. And in the smaller one, you're going to put in a cup of half and half, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and a tablespoon of sugar. That's all.
Yep.
Those are all the ingredients you need. You pull all the air out of that bag as best you can and seal it up really tight.
That's important.
Yes.
Make sure it's sealed shut.
Definitely. And then in the larger bag, and I'm thinking, difference between, probably
like
the
a
little
sandwich bag,
Yes.
and a gallon bag.
Sandwich in a gallon. So in the gallon bag, you're going to fill it about half full with ice cubes. And then on top of that, place about a 1/4 cup of salt. And the more coarse salt you have, the better.
Mhm.
And then what the salt does is it helps to make the ice colder. So
Which seems really counterintuitive
It's
when you
really
think
weird.
about how ice is what we put on our roads.
yeah,
Or
salt
salt is what we put on the roads.
to melt the
melt the
ice. I know. I don't get it.
Science.
It works.
Yeah.
So then you've got the ice, you put the salt on, and then you put your small bag into the big bag on top of the salt, which is on top of the ice. And then throw some more ice in on top, but leave enough room so that you can zip the top
Mhm.
closed. And then take oven mitts, because this is
Or
going to get,
mittens,
it's going to get cold, or heavy mittens.
Yeah.
If you've got them.
which also seems counterintuitive in summer heat.
Yes, but we don't want to chill our little fingers off.
No.
So shake it all up, move it around, just kind of do what you have to do, move that ice
Play
around.
catch. We play catch with ours a lot.
Just don't let it break open.
No.
That'd be a mess. But yeah, keep tossing it around and then you can check on it once in a while. And when that cream inside has gotten to the consistency that you want, then you can pull it out and rinse off the bag in cold water. Because you want to rinse the salt off, because you don't need that salt in
No.
ice cream. It just doesn't taste as good. And either eat it with a spoon right out of the bag or throw it into a bowl. But then you've got your own little homemade ice cream.
It takes longer to mix it up than you'd think.
Yep.
Especially if you wanted more of like a solid ice cream.
It'll take a while.
It'll take a while.
And you can always add more ice if you want to.
Yep.
Dump out some of the water if it's starting to melt. And then we've added berries and nuts and
Nutella.
we've added Nutella and maybe a little whipped cream once in a while.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
So that's a delicious treat, and it fills up an afternoon of active kids to get them busy and doing stuff. So that's a good one.
Another thing with add-ins that I see on our list is smoothies.
Mhm.
Smoothies are so delicious and they can be so healthy or they can be so unhealthy.
Yep. Depending on what you add.
Depending on what you add.
You can start with all the best intentions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I always love just putting frozen, so I keep frozen fruit in our freezer, just strawberries and bananas and mangoes and pineapple, blueberries, so many different fruits. And you just keep a bag in your freezer. And then when you're ready to make a smoothie, put all of those in a blender and just turn it on. Some people will add a little bit of milk or some yogurt, depending on how creamy you want it.
Ice cream, depending on how sugary you want it.
You can also add things like nuts and chia seeds and chocolate chips. Chocolate chips are a good addition. Something sneaky that you can add into smoothies is spinach.
Mm-hmm.
It adds a lot of nutrients, but you don't taste it. Kale too.
Yeah, it looks funny.
It looks funny because it's green. But it I've added it so many times and I don't taste it at all.
No, it's a really healthy additive.
Yeah.
And that's fun too.
And if you add enough of the darker fruits, like the blueberries and the strawberries, you don't even see the green.
No. Beets are good.
Beets are also good in there.
Avocado.
Oh yes, talk about creamy.
That helps to get things a little bit more creamy.
Yeah, but don't freeze the avocado ahead of time.
No, then it doesn't.
I think it works, but it's just not as good.
It's kind of ugly too. I think it doesn't change color when it's frozen.
It might.
I don't
know. We should experiment.
Maybe we should.
Smoothies sound good now.
Okay, another activity that you can do at the grocery store with your kids. Everyone picks their own fruit for tonight's fruit salad. So, child A wants watermelon, B wants apples, whatever it is, bring it home. Everybody has had their say in what gets thrown into the fruit salad, and you cut it up and throw it all together in one big bowl and enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's the family fruit salad.
And you can make a huge fruit salad too.
Yes. And that's just a great snack to leave in the fridge and have it available.
Or if you have leftovers from your fruit salad, turn it into a smoothie.
A smoothie. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh. Similarly, we do the same thing and have done the same thing with veggies. When you go to the grocery store again.
Or the farmer's market.
Oh, the farmer's market. Absolutely. Yeah, we loved farmer's market days because we all picked our veggies and brought them home and made our veggie salad then. Lots of fun. And it's a fun way to interact as a family and get everybody on board doing the same thing.
And see people in your local community.
So I know there were a lot of changes that happened in the world in 2020. One of them was that people decided early on that they were all going to become bakers and they were going to get really good at all these making things in the kitchen that
It
they,
was so hard to find yeast
yeah,
because everybody was
Everybody was-
suddenly making bread.
and canning. You couldn't find canning jars because
No.
everybody decided they were gonna can. Well,
The stores are restocked now.
yes, and the upside to that is that there are a lot of used appliances out there that haven't been used that much. So we have found for years, we have loved making bread, and our kids did it when they were little, and we didn't always make it from scratch, kneading it and all that. We used a bread maker often, and they are a lot of fun. You can create new recipes and you can experiment, and
I remember one that you made with Coca-Cola.
yeah, I'm sure I did.
There was one that, do you remember my ice cream bread?
Yes. For some reason, we had gotten a big amount of ice cream in our freezer for something or another, and we couldn't eat it that fast.
No,
And so Emily created, or she looked up.
I found a recipe.
Found
You
a
just take a pint of ice cream, and I don't remember how much flour, but you just mix the ice cream and the flour, and then you bake it, and it makes bread.
And it was really good.
It was. It was surprising.
Yeah, it was weird. So, I would, if you don't have a bread maker and that's something that might interest you and your family, check out on the used,
Facebook.
yeah, marketplace or Craigslist. They're out there and they're not that expensive, and you can give it a try. And then when you're ready to, advance further, you can go out and get yourself a brand new one with all the bells and whistles that you want.
Speaking of dough,
Yes.
we also made a lot of Play-Doh as kids.
Yeah, we did. Lots of Play-Doh.
Yeah, and that was just flour, water, and salt,
Mhm.
wasn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes we would also add Jello,
Mm-hmm.
colored Jello, because it smelled better and it gave you the color that you wanted.
I think you can add different things to like cornstarch to make it a little softer.
Hmm.
All of the kids now are making slime.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
But if
was-
you get some of the homemade Play-Doh in your mouth, then it's not as icky as if you get some of the homemade slime in your mouth.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm glad that phase passed in our family. The other appliance that I want to recommend is the Instant Pot. I would be remiss if I didn't say that, because we use the Instant Pot
All the time.
a lot in our
All the time.
family, summer and winter. What's nice about both of these, the bread maker and the Instant Pot, crock pots, they're a way that you can make good, healthy, wholesome food at home without heating up the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's really been a fun thing for us. We've as well as the grill, but those things are things that kids can do at younger ages. They can, get involved with helping out, make a pot roast or make bread, or in our Instant Pot, we've actually made cheesecakes and
Yogurt.
and we've learned to make sour cream now in them.
I've been making beets a lot in
Yeah.
my Instapot,
Yep.
and it's so easy.
I've done barbecue ribs in the
Mhm.
Instant Pot. And so yeah, lots of fun recipes. You can find them online. Whatever your kids are interested in, it's a great way to help them explore that. In the same way, I'm just thinking of not heating up the kitchen in the summer. A toaster oven,
Mhm.
again, is kind of it's just a smaller appliance that is a little bit more manageable for smaller people.
I know air fryers are also
And we
really
haven't
popular.
worked with one of those really
no, because
in
we
our
use our
family.
other appliances.
Yeah. We keep busy with the other stuff, but
Another small appliance that won't heat up the kitchen.
absolutely. So
There's so many different ideas and options, and explore the internet, explore Pinterest, explore there are some like family activity websites, explore those websites, go to your library, check out some books that are on family friendly activities.
And it's a lot of, if you can do an activity in one location, if like camping, it's typically an outdoor activity, but we modified it to make it work indoors for us. And I think we can do that with a lot of things,
Yeah.
with a little bit of creativity, or just checking out, like Emily said, check out the internet and see what other people are doing with that, and how can we create these cooler places and cooler activities. There's just so much available. So
That's the extent of the list that we created.
yeah.
So, are there any questions in the feed, or Kimani, do you have any questions that you might have
Or
as well?
ideas, or
Yeah, I do. For some reason, I cannot turn my camera back on. Really, Jesus? Okay, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Blame it on the Lord. So if you guys do have any comments or any activities during the summer that you would like to share, you can always put them into the chat. If you are on Zoom with us, you can use the chat box feature and the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. And if you're watching us from Facebook, of course, you can just type them into the comment section. I do have an idea, something that I actually walked into at a party when I was in high school. So it was over my friend's house. It was like Saturday night, and I came and all the lights were off, and I was about to turn around and leave because I didn't know, serial killers, kidnapping, don't know what's going on. So they were like, "Oh yeah, come on in here. We're actually playing hallway laser maze." And I was like, what? So they had glow in the dark tape, and they had just cut off strips, and across the floor they had went from one wall to the other with the tape, and they had it going in all different angles. And I was like, this is fun. Like, it was awesome. We played that like throughout the house. We ran out of tape after a while. It went from the hallway to the kitchen. It was like, it was fun times, but not to take the tape down. That wasn't fun. But
Yeah.
it was a really cool activity. And it wasn't until I was like, gosh, I totally forgot all about that hallway laser maze, or I don't know, that's what they were calling it at the time. But I
fun.
recommend that.
did you use blacklight flashlights, or how did, with the tape?
I don't even know. I've seen websites like that just sell tape that glows in the dark. Like, you don't necessarily
wow.
need, I think
That'd be fun.
sites like Wish sell them, and I think Amazon does as well. Like, you literally just wait for it to get dark and tape up your hallway.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that actually, that reminded me of a once we went to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and in that area, for those of you from Michigan, you'll know what I'm talking about. There are Uper stones, and they are stones that when you shine them with a black light, so you have a flashlight with a black light, they glow, and they actually look like little embers on the beach. And so
Awesome.
you'll see people walking at night along the beach with their black lights, and looking for stones that will light up for them. But we've actually taken those black lights into the woods at night also. On warm summer nights, we'll go walking through the woods, and there are certain mosses and other rocks that will also light up with a black light. So that's really fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nighttime treasure hunt.
Yep. Yep.
Nice. Bobia said in the comments that Walmart sells that glow in the dark tape as well. So you might want to check your nearest Walmart. You guys were talking about foods and a drink that helps keep cool. I remember someone told me a while back that mangoes also help reduce body heat, and that there is like heat stroke prevention or relief from that as well.
Oh,
So I might want to add that to a smoothie. It never hurts.
Absolutely.
and it's so delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite fruits ever. I drink smoothies every day, and it's really kind of the only way that I can enjoy most vegetables. Like I'm just gonna blend
Hide
it. If
'em.
I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to sit and eat a corn on a cob. I don't want to sit and eat cauliflower. No, just put it in the blender. But most of the time it's fruit smoothies for me. So I'll have strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. And then I'll get like one of the V8 juices that I love is like blueberry pomegranate. And then when I'm making a green smoothie, they do have a veggie one that's just like green. I think it's, what is it? Freaking
I'm sure that's
celery.
been-
I don't remember what it is, but it's also good. Something else, oh, that I do add to my smoothies is oatmeal. So I usually go for like the lowered sugar oatmeal because that's no saturated fat in that, and it tastes just as good to me. So it's like,
Yeah.
good stuff. But Bavia, do you see anything on Facebook? Because I don't see anything in the comments.
No, there's nothing there.
When
Ice
we-
cream in a bag sounds amazing. I've never
Yeah.
done
Oh,
but
it is some of the best ice cream we've had.
Yeah.
The homemade ice cream
Great.
is so good, so good.
my
You know,
mom,
we were talking about the choosing your own fruit to add or choosing your own vegetables. There were times, and there are still times we do this now that our kids are not kids anymore, they're well into adulthood. But we choose fruits that we've never tried before.
I just did that yesterday.
Which one?
Well, it was one that I've tried, but I don't think it was quite ripe or something.
Oh,
But I had gotten some dragon fruit,
yeah.
and my husband and I we've been trying to experiment with different foods, and so I cut up a dragon fruit for us, and I liked it, but it was a little bit tasteless,
Oh,
and I didn't want to just like eat this tasteless fruit, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna make a smoothie out of it.
perfect.
Still used it. It was good.
But what's fun about that is that we've learned how to prepare them. And sometimes it means that we go to a grocery store, an ethnic grocery store in our area, and we'll ask the people at the store, because oftentimes, you know, if we go to a Hmong grocery store, there's somebody there that is familiar with that culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can explain to us how to use these fruits and vegetables that they've got. And it's been so much fun to learn not only about a different culture, but to learn about these other foods and to meet people. And so that's been a lot of fun,
Yeah.
trying new things. And we've found some that we definitely love and some that
We don't need to get again.
we won't try them again.
can you guys go over the ice cube painting again? Because that really got my attention. That's another one that I have to experiment with.
Yeah, so both the ice cube painting and the ice cube tie-dye. So painting, you just take water and you add food coloring to it. You put it in an ice cube tray, let it freeze. And then if you have a thick piece of paper, like a cardstock or even thicker, once your ice cubes are fully formed, you put the ice cubes on the paper and just wait for them to melt. And if you want to move them around the paper to make like different lines and stuff, they'll melt in that pattern or whatever, and then the colors kind of start to blend. And then for the ice cube tie-dye, you have your piece of fabric that's wet, and you cover it in ice cubes, and then you sprinkle on your fabric dye, and it has to be in powder form. So then as the ice cubes melt, the dye works its way into the fabric, wherever the ice cube was melting.
That sounds
Just
so
a word to the wise. We learned last year in a tie-dye project, pre-wash your items before you try to dye them, because sometimes there's sizing or some kind of a coating on the fabrics that you don't know
The dye
about,
doesn't stick to it.
and the dye won't stick. So wash them first and then do your tie-dyeing.
Yeah.
There were so many good recommendations that you guys gave, I think just across the board, indoor and outdoor. And I didn't even consider food and drink, but obviously summer is a fun, festive time. And we do need to eat and drink to live. And a lot of awesome, 4th of July and Labor Day. So I really think it's great that you guys cover the basis with food and drink as well, and not just indoor and outdoor activities. I do remember being a kid in the 90s and being in the mall with my mom and my sister all day long. And I'm from New Jersey originally, so enclosed malls, it was pretty much everywhere. And you can shop there, you can buy food, that you can literally have 3 meals a day there if you wanted to. You can go to the movies there.
Yes.
I mean, so it was a real treat to go to the mall. It was kind of like saying we were going to Six Flags or something when me and my sister were younger. We enjoyed it that much. So good recommendation. Card games too. Gosh,
Oh, yeah.
card games. We used to play.
Oh,
I have not
good.
played double solitaire though. I'm surprised I've never even heard of it because I love solitaire.
that may have been just a game that my mom created. I don't know. But I've been playing it since I was a kid too. so.
Yeah.
Really, never played. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, lately our family has been doing trapped puzzle rooms.
Yeah.
Oh, so much fun. We've done that both out at the venues where there are trapped puzzle rooms that you can go into, but we've also there are board game trapped puzzle rooms. And if you talk with the game store clerks or the attendants at the game stores, they'll help you decide what games are age appropriate for the age of your kids. Those are a lot of fun. They really get you thinking. They get pretty competitive sometimes. You kind of have to keep everybody in line with the making sure that there's not too much competition going on within the team. But we've had a lot of fun with those.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
any of the activities that you guys suggested, do you do those at the teen camps in the summer, or are these new things?
Yeah. So let me just look at our list. I think one we didn't actually mention was kayaking, or maybe we did.
We did.
But we always like to take our campers kayaking, rock climbing. We're going to be going roller skating this year. We have gone bowling before.
Mhm.
We have done the water balloon fight.
Tie-dyeing.
Tie-dye, we do that every year.
We haven't done it with ice cubes though.
We
Maybe
haven't.
We'll try that.
We'll try that this year. So yes, these are a lot of the activities are ones that we do at our camp too. And we really focus on keeping our camp MS friendly. So our activities are either inside in the air conditioning or outside in the water, or some form of water to help keep everybody from getting overheated.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's awesome. I thank you guys. Again, I know I said it to you before we started the conference, but you guys do tremendous work, and it's really fun to learn more about the organization. So thank you so much for what you are sharing with the MS community.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for giving us the opportunity to share with the webinar this evening.
Awesome. And let me know if you guys do that hallway laser thing. Like if
Yeah,
that's,
that sounds
that's
fun.
a success. Let
That
me
might
know.
have to be a new camp activity.
Yeah.
Might have to try that out.
Awesome. Well, guys, I don't see any more questions in the chat, and I don't think there's anything on Facebook, so I do feel like we'll close out here. But if anyone who is watching, if you have missed any part of this conference, you can go over to our Facebook page, as the live stream will end there. And then the recording will be ready to watch from beginning to end. Within the week, this will also be on the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation's YouTube channel. So you can subscribe to our channel there and like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get more information on when our next conferences will be, and just updates about what's going on in the community. Our next conference will be this Friday on the 23rd. Can't believe June is almost over already, at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And we will have, who's going to be the speaker? Flavia, do you know? Oh, Flavia Nelson. And she's going to be talking about the latest in stem cell research. So we do want to thank everybody who did attend and watched on Facebook, and those of you who joined us on Zoom, thank you. And again, Andrea and Emily, it was really nice to meet you guys. And hopefully I'll see you soon. So take care.
You.
Have a great evening.